Hello, everybody. Jimmy Smith here from the Wine with Jimmy channel. Thank you so much for clicking by. Delighted to have you on board. Welcome to my channel. It's a channel all about wine, designed to help you get more excitement, more enjoyment from wine. A lot of my videos follow syllabus of wine qualifications, such as the WSET, the Wine and Spirit Education Trust. And this is no different. You'll see it here on your slide. I am going to talk about what we would call the conclusions of a wine in this video and how to judge quality. Okay, so this is what we call a part of the systematic approach to tasting as per WSET. If you have any comments, any questions, please do pose those questions, post those comments below this video. Click like and subscribe, certainly if you want to get the bi-weekly updates from the channel. Okay, let's rock and roll talking about how to judge quality on wine. So this is in the conclusion section of wine tasting, and the conclusion section is separated into quality level and readiness for drinking. So this video is free content. Part 2, when you are judging the readiness for drinking, maybe it's too young, too old, or it's ready but can age. Those will be covered in part 2, and that's only available to those of you who subscribe to my e-learning platform. You'll find details for that over at www.winewithjimmy.com. Okay, the conclusion section overview. Here is the conclusion section as per the systematic approach to tasting, split into that quality level and readiness for drinking. I've just left highlighted here the quality level, as that's what we're going through here. So many criteria is used when assessing quality of wine. Now, there are many instances when wine professionals disagree about the quality of wine due to the subjective nature of wine tasting. But in most cases, there is broad agreement about both the quality and also the reasons for its quality level. Now, this is possible because there are a number of criteria that are widely used when it comes to assessing the quality. And we're going to go through those. Okay, so here you will see it. So I've just left highlighted there the quality level scale from faulty, poor, acceptable, good, very good, and outstanding. I will go through these very shortly, but in order to get to these, we need to talk about what's called the BLIC process, B-L-I-C, balance, length, intensity, complexity, BLIC. So let's discuss each of those. Now, in wine, balance can be thought of as a set of scales with fruit and sugar on one side, all linked, of course, and then acidity and tannins on the other side. But we have other factors to bring in as well. An increase in fruit or sugar can be brought into balance by an increase in acidity or tannin. With too little fruit or sugar, a wine can seem quite angular, austere, or thin. With too little acidity or tannin, it can seem unstructured, a little bit haphazard or clumsy. When assessing balance, you should consider how well integrated each of these separate components are. So, for example, even if the fruit is balanced by acidity, the acidity could be actually too souring, harsh, too intensive, or aggressive. Alcohol should also be well integrated, whatever its level, and so should the aromatic components, such as fruit or floral or spice, or those that are derived from oak. For me, when you're assessing the balance, ask yourself one question. Is there something that seems out of place in that wine, therefore out of balance? Is there something disjointed? So you're tasting, is there something that annoys you? It kind of upsets you because it's too alcoholic, it's too bitter, it's too sour, it's too oaky. They are things which will knock it out of balance. Typically today, wine is made very professionally and balance is more often than not achieved quite to a high level. So balance is typically something we do achieve in most wines. Next is the length. Now, this refers to how long the finish is. In other words, how long those pleasant sensations will linger after the wine has been swallowed or spat out. Okay. A tutor or examiner will mark the wine according to its length. Now, as an examiner and tutor, I will only give a mark for the length if it is long. Okay. Otherwise, if you're giving marks for medium pluses, many wines have this category, medium plus, and therefore many wines are higher in quality, it seems, than actually they should be. So we'll come to that very, very shortly. So that's the length. Then we have intensity. Now, a wine that has weak, dilute, watery flavours is often not high in quality. But beyond a certain level, more intensity does not necessarily mean higher quality. So it's not just pronounced intensity means, yes, it's higher quality. It all depends. When discussing quality, some people often refer to a wine's intensity also as concentration. Intensity is judged by referencing it against the wine's body. So go back to your palate, right? Um, for example, if you're tasting a Chablis that will show you light body and it's displaying, say, medium intensity, the wine would be considered very good quality, certainly for the intensity. You'll give it a mark for intensity here. Okay, that's because the wine is exhibiting more intensity for the body, so in reference to its body. And also conversely, in comparison, a wine that is full bodied but lacks intensity, maybe it's medium or medium minus, you wouldn't give it a mark because it's really quite a powerful wine, but it's lacking any intensity. So you need to think about it in reference to the wine, often associated to the body. Real good indicator that is for the intensity. Then we have complexity. Complex flavours and aromas are, of course, desirable features in a wine. The complexity can come from the primary aromas and flavours alone, or it may come from a combination of primary, secondary, and tertiary, or primary and just tertiary, like in a Riesling. Therefore, it's no hard and fast rule about what quality is in terms of the complexity. It is quite common, though, that if you find primary, secondary, and tertiary, the wine is going to likely have complexity. Okay? So that is your complexity characteristic. Now let's give you some examples. So an outstanding wine. So I've left highlighted here for quality outstanding. So what do we need to achieve that? All of BLIC: balance, length, intensity, and complexity. So all positive in those four criteria. Okay? A very good wine. Okay, so just down from outstanding. What about that? Well, a very good wine will show positivity against three of the criteria, but in falling short in that fourth. And what we've done here is showing balance, intensity, and complexity, but not length. So maybe the wine has a medium or short finish, for example, okay? But it's balanced, has good intensity, and has complexity to it. So that would be considered A very good wine. And of course, the combinations can be different. What about a good wine? You're seeing a pattern here. You will need positivity against two of the BLIC criteria. So here, the wine has balance, nice intensity, but doesn't have a good finish, and it's not really that complex. Maybe this is like a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. So really nice balance, very intense characteristics, but generally quite short on its length and not too complex, fairly direct in its style. What about an acceptable wine? An acceptable wine will show positivity against one criteria. So maybe the wine is balanced, but it's dilute, simple flavours, and a short finish. So that means you will tick it for balance, but not for length, intensity, or complexity. And this gives you an acceptable wine, as you can see just there. And of course, a poor wine will have no positivity in those four areas. So all negative in balance, length, intensity, and complexity. Okay, these are really useful terminologies to get your head around. You can use them in your assessments of wine, of course. If you are drinking very casually, however, it's whether you like it or not, of course. But this is when we are systematically tasting wine. Okay, next up is readiness for drinking. Please do join me for that video. If you want to, you'll have to subscribe to my e-learning platform. That's over at www.winewithjimmy.com. If you have any comments or questions about this video, about the terminologies through balance, length, intensity, complexity, things like outstanding, very good, good wines, maybe you have some recommends of outstanding wines, please do get in touch. And if you do find yourself in the UK, come and say hello for a class, glass, or bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now. Goodbye.